Welcome to another episode of Just Scrapping By, the YouTube channel where we find value in some of the most commonly thrown away electronics. In today's episode, we will be scrapping a flat-screen television, manufactured by Insignia, to see what valuable components can be found within. The model of the television is INP4219. It took us about 45 minutes to disassemble and another 45 minutes to depopulate the circuit boards. So let's get into the project. The first step is to remove the back panel off of the television. We need to remove a lot of screws, 24 to be specific, as well as the mounting brackets to gain access to the circuit boards within. To remove the circuit boards, we need to remove another 24 screws. Looking at the circuit boards within the television, there are already a lot of useful components already visible on the main power board, as well as the two boards used for the screen display. It appears the data board contains mostly surface mount components, but we will still take a look at it. So with that out of the way, let's start depopulating and see what we can salvage. We removed over 100 electrolytic capacitors from the flat-screen television. Most of these capacitors are not very valuable, but when we combine them together, we have almost $60 worth of salvage. There were a handful of ceramic capacitors we removed from the circuit boards. These capacitors are not worth much to salvage, but they came out easily, so we took them anyways. There were 24 polyester capacitors in the television. These capacitors are useful for either earning money from salvage or using in projects. $6 in salvage is not bad for only 10 minutes in effort to remove them. There were only 2 film capacitors in the television. The irony is that 2 film capacitors have more salvage value than a dozen ceramic capacitors. These will definitely be put up for sale on our salvage site. Inductors are always a good way to make salvage money when there are enough of them in a device. Here we have an assortment of inductors, but there were 6 of them that we could not getting an inductance reading on, and therefore placed in the misfit bin. We are pretty sure these are inductors, but we may be wrong. Do you believe these are another type of component and not inductors? If so, please let us know in the comments section. There was a surprisingly high number of transformers in the television, and based on their size, we are going to get a surprisingly high amount of salvage value from them. Almost $60 to be specific. We removed 4 integrated circuit chips as well as a small pile of optocouplers. We removed a power regulator, a mode controller, an audio switch, as well as an 8-bit microcontroller. These chips will definitely have a buyer on our salvage site. There were 2 4-pin micro buttons in the television, as well as 1 relay. We always keep our relays instead of sell them because they are so useful for projects. We removed 11 transistors from the device. 8 of them were NPN type, while 3 of them were PNP type. There was an interesting collection of MOSFET components in the television. We removed a packaged rectifier, as well as some power supply modules, voltage regulators, and an assortment of N-channel and P-channel MOSFET components. There was also 2 fast rectifiers, as well as some Schottky barrier rectifiers. These components will snag us over $100 in salvage. We removed a small pile of resistors from the device. Some of these resistors look pretty beefy and can probably dissipate a lot of watts. We will definitely hold on to these for future projects. We also removed some high wattage cement resistors. These can handle high currents and are very useful and therefore very valuable. These will get listed on our salvage site for resale. Trimmer pot resistors are not very valuable to resell as they are very cheap to buy. But since they have many versatile uses, we may just hold on to them for later. Altogether, the 3 types of resistors we removed could net us a potential $11 in salvage. We were only able to remove 2 diodes from the device. One of them is a rectifier diode, while the other one is a fast switch diode. Fuses are always useful to keep or sell because there is always a need for them. In this salvage operation, we managed to pull a few 5-amp fuses, as well as an 8-amp fuse. There were some decent interface ports on the television. Although we really do not have a use for RCA ports, the serial and VGA port, as well as the barrel ports, can always be either sold or kept for spare parts. We removed 3 ferrite rings from the device. We are starting to get way too many of these in our inventory, so we need either sell them or find a use for them. If anyone has an interesting project to do with these rings, please let us know in the comments section. Lastly, we removed a lot of aluminum heatsink from the television. This stuff is very expensive to buy for some reason, so we will definitely be listing it for sale. If we take all of the components we salvaged from the Insignia flat-screen television and add the value of the scrap circuit boards and scrap steel, we get a total value of $320.28 in salvage. Now that we have the total amount of salvage from the device, we can check out the profitability. The device took 45 minutes to disassemble and another 45 minutes to depopulate. If we take the total salvage value and subtract the purchase cost of the device as well as our labor, we can make a maximum profit of $272.31 if we sell everything. We would need to sell about $48 in salvage in order to break even on this project. So the question is, was scrapping this device worth it? If you were to obtain the device for free, or for at least less than $40, you would make a profit. There are lots of components in the device, and the boards are easy to depopulate. There is very little leftover waste after disassembly, but the disassembly process is tedious because of the number of screws that need to be removed. For the Insignia INP4219 flat-screen television, we give it a scrapping grade of A-. Thank you for watching our video, and remember to subscribe to our channel to see more great tutorials on how to turn the old into gold.